off, what are you looking for in the debate tonight? What are you watching for?
So I will be in Green Bay watching with several folks to see what President Biden and Donald Trump are going to say, what their visions are for Wisconsin and what their visions are for America. And it's going to be pretty stark, those two visions. We've got somebody who's been doing fantastic for the last 4 years. The economy is humming. We've got low unemployment rates, and his goals for the next 4 years are really to support the middle class and to protect freedoms. And the goals for Donald Trump were basically the opposite of that. He said he wants to be a dictator on day one. His goals are to cut taxes for his ultra wealthy friends. He's out for himself, not for the Wisconsin people. And so I know who I'm voting for. I am voting for President Biden. I want to see what he has done for the last 4 years continue for the next four.
What will be the sign of a successful debate?
So I am hopeful that we can really see what these two visions look like. That would be a successful debate in my perspective, that Wisconsinites are able to see who they're going to be voting for this November. What is their vision for the country? Are they going to be protecting rights like women's reproductive rights? Or are they going to move even further and be able to restrict medication abortion, IVF, contraception? These are all of the things that are on the line this November. And we have to make sure that each one of them is going to be answering those questions.
What do you want Wisconsinites to be on the lookout for when they're watching the debate tonight?
So I would be at the lookout for what is going to be the vision for the next 4 years. Are you going to have somebody who's going to support the middle class, is going to be lowering costs for people like President Biden has done? He's lowered costs for insulin. He's been able to negotiate prices for prescription medications. And Donald Trump wants to reverse all of those things. He wants to make cuts to Medicare. He wants to make cuts to the Affordable Care Act, Social Security. These are things that affect Wisconsinites personally, especially in their pocketbooks. For me, I want to make sure that I've got somebody who's going to protect the middle class, who's going to protect our freedoms moving forward. And that's what I'm looking for the next 4 years.
For President Biden specifically, what are you looking for in his performance? What is going to be a sign that he performed well tonight?
So I think that he's going to perform well. He is an articulate, intelligent man. He's a statesman, and he's going to be able to show everybody what grounded leadership looks like, as opposed to the unhinged rantings of Donald Trump. No one, I certainly don't want to go back to that. I want somebody who is going to be professional and appropriate and talk about their policy positions and not be on this vengeance drive, which is what Donald Trump has been talking about.
We've touched on it a little bit, but looking specifically at issues, what are the big issues you hope they talk about tonight?
I think abortion is still on the ballot. I'm a nurse by background. I know what has happened when they have restricted abortion here in Wisconsin. We restricted it for about 15 months. We had severe restrictions on access. We've just seen some data out of Texas that says that infant mortality rates went up when they had restricted abortion access, and they still do. This is going to be on the line, but we have to really also look at Project 2025, which is the policy of what Donald Trump wants to implement. And it's even more extreme than he's been saying out loud, wanting to restrict medication abortion, wanting to restrict contraception, IVF, all of these other things that he's going to be wanting to implement. So Wisconsinites, that's important for them. Their pocketbooks are important for them. Moody's has said that the economic plan for President Biden would actually lift us up, and the economic plan for Trump would put us into a recession, most likely. Those are the kind of things that are important to me as a middle class person and as a common person. I think it's going to be important to Wisconsinites.
This is not the first time these two have debated each other. So how do you think tonight is going to be different from their previous debate?
So now they know each other. Each of them has a record to stand on. We've got almost 4 years of President Biden doing fantastic for the economy of Wisconsin in particular. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates we've ever had, with the most people working. It's been a real economic boom to be able to use some of these dollars that have come out of the administration. And then you've got Donald Trump, who, had some of the highest unemployment rates during his presidency and had really added to the national deficit with his cuts for his millionaire and billionaire friends. Those are the two records that they're going to have to stand on. And I'm really hoping that the moderators tonight are going to be talking about those things.
Is there anything else we haven't touched on that you think is important for Wisconsinites to keep in mind watching tonight?
So let's believe what Donald Trump has said. He said he wants to be a dictator on day one. He says he wants to do tax cuts for his wealthy millionaire and billionaire friends, and he's only looking out for himself. Compare that to President Biden, who is here for us here in Wisconsin. He's been able to help us with our unemployment rates, with the number of people being at work. He's been able to lower costs for insulin, lower costs for medication. He's been working with students and doing student loan forgiveness. These are all things that help everyday people, not the millionaires and billionaires. And that's certainly who I'm going to be voting for this November.
Some critics have expressed concerns about Biden's eloquence, his ability to, directly respond quickly in a debate. Do you have any concerns about that?
I don't. I want somebody who's going to be thoughtful in their response and not come off the hip and say unhinged things like we hear from Donald Trump. I want somebody who's going to be thinking about the next 4 years and how they can help everyday people, not just their millionaire and billionaire friends. And so I'm really looking forward to the debate. I have met President Biden personally. I have found him to be engaged and warm and absolutely committed to making sure that he lifts up everyday Wisconsinites. And that's what I want to see in my leader. That's what I want to see in my president. I want my kids to be able to look up to the president of the United States. And I certainly don't see that with Donald Trump.
For some people who are tired of the politics, they may be planning on not tuning into the debate at all tonight. What would you say to those Wisconsinites?
I would say if you're not going to be tuning into the debate, really look at the policy positions of President Biden and Donald Trump. Look up Project 2025. Look what he is planning on doing with his presidency for the next 4 years and see if that helps your family. It doesn't help my family to give tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires. It really helps my family when we have lower prescription costs, when we have lower costs for education. Those are the kind of things that help my family. So look up Project 2025. Look up the policy for President Biden that he's got on his website and make a comparison about what you want to see for the next 4 years.
Do you think this debate will change anyone's minds tonight?
Yeah, it can. We've got independents who are on the fence, who are thinking about who they want to vote for in November. And listening at what their policy positions are, I think is going to be important. I'm hoping that the moderators really discuss those types of policies. That I am also hoping that folks will call out any lies that come out of Donald Trump, because that often happens, that he tells things that are untrue, and that we can talk about that within our community. But yes, I do think that this debate is going to be important. I hope people listen to it and really think about the policy positions that each candidate has and what they want to see for the next 4 years.